Hi, I'm Patrick.
And I'm Liv.
And this is the Mach-E vlog. Today we're in a Lexus RZ 450E, and the purpose of this video is we're just going to evaluate the Lexus driver's assistance features. We're headed down to San Diego. We're going to test a bunch of the highway driving and see how it does.
So let's go.
So before I get started, let me go ahead. I'm going to turn it on here. And the reason I want to do that is because this is a divided row, but there's like stoplights and stuff like that. So I can show you that it works. It's not like Blue Cruise and some other systems that only worked on mapped highways for the hands-off version. This is a hands-on at all times, and it works on pretty much any road with lines. So that's what we're doing here. I just set it. I'm gonna like raise the speed a little bit because I set it for under the speed limit. But the safety features in this Lexus, it's an electric RZ 450E, but it works fairly similar to the systems in other Lexus vehicles. There are some, things that are optional on this one. I'm gonna go ahead and tap my brake to get out of it because people are cutting us off, and it would handle that. But I don't want to get right up on them and let it decide that it's going to brake. But it does not recognize red lights, but it will recognize somebody coming to a stop in front of us. The light just turned green. When they start moving, I'm going to press resume. And it says resumed. And I'm just going to see how well it accelerates. I got my hand on the steering wheel. Going through an intersection, which can throw off a lot of these systems. And it handled it very well going through that intersection at a low speed.
And it was picking up the speed and everything.
Yeah, it's accelerating for me, trying to get back up to 55 miles per hour, which is the speed limit. And I was sort of rude to that guy. He was trying to merge in, but of course the car doesn't know that. And then now that guy cut in front of me, so it braked so that it could leave the gap. And as with a lot of other driver's assistance systems, including Super Cruise, Blue Cruise, Autopilot, I can set the following distance. And right now I sort of have it on a medium following distance. So let's see. And then a lot of it's controlled here with the little touch panel on the right side. And there's a heads-up display on the RZ 450E so that I can see what I'm doing with my thumb by just looking at the heads-up display. So I go over here to the left, and that's setting it to a 1. I just tapped on it once. That set it to a 1 following distance. Tap again, and it's a 4 following distance. Tap it again, and a 3. Tap it again, and it's a 2. So I'm going to keep it on a 2 for most of this, and just letting it, follow the traffic here. The heads-up display, I can't really show you with like a GoPro, but it shows that there's a car ahead of me, that there's a 2 following distance. It's a green icon for the steering wheel that's showing that it is active and online. It shows me my speed limit is, or my speed is set to 55, but I'm actually doing 54 right now, which is interesting. You think it would speed up to get me up to 55. Okay, there it finally did. And so decent amount of info right there let me know what's going on with the system. It does have eye tracking, which is right here. So if I cover that up, at some point, we'll see. There's the ding, and it says sit up, driver's face not detected. And I don't like doing the test of seeing what it does if I keep doing that. I'm sure some others have done that, but here's our first little,
Was that you?
Yeah, no, I definitely tapped the brakes there. So you could see somebody cut me off. That's just one where, yeah, we can wait and see if the system's going to brake for me, but there's just no way I'm gonna feel comfortable letting that take place. Especially because this is a loaner car for us to just test out these things. But we are going to keep going. And I think I'll pause until we get on I-15. I just wanted to show you that it works on pretty much whatever road that has 2 lanes. As long as it can view the lane markings, it'll work. So Liv is filming the heads-up display so I can watch what everything is doing. But you can see here it's showing the 57 mile per hour set limit. 57 miles per hour is what it's actually doing. The blue lines indicate it's a 2 following distance. The green steering wheel with hands on means it's active and my hands need to be on. And I think the 2 green lines means that's detecting lines on the left and the right side. And the last little thing, it says we're headed northeast right now. Oh, and then here we go. You can watch that car come in front of us, and it's coming to, I'm gonna let it slow down here. You can see the speed dropping. It's braking fairly comfortably. It doesn't feel abrupt, and it's just adjusting to the car in front of us. And if they would have come to a complete stop, so would have the driver's assistance system. And now we're speeding back up. Feels very smooth. Doesn't feel abrupt in the braking or in the acceleration. Like it could have tried to, like keep right up with that car, but it just sort of is like, we're gonna gradually get back up to speed. Okay, we're now on I-15, speed limit 70. I'm gonna set the cruise control to about that. And we'll just see how this does. Can you tell when I have it on or off?
No.
Oop.
What was that? Oh, you looked away.
I looked away for too long.
Then,
It said
yes.
driver inattention noted. So that's another test. It noticed that I was looking this way.
So the last video that we filmed in this way was it Super Cruise?
Super Cruise, yes.
Super Cruise. And I recall it feeling like when it picked up from a stop, it was a little slower than this. So like when it started going back there at that light, it felt a bit faster to pick up, like in a more natural way.
More natural, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna interrupt because I gotta change lanes and show you. To change lanes, I just turn on the blinker. And now I'm in control of the steering. I finished my lane change. I turned the blinker off and it re-engages automatically. So that's one of the features I really like in some other ADAS systems. Not all of them do that. Some you have to like reactivate. So this is one where you can literally just turn the blinker on. And what I'm going to try to do is not turn the blinker on, but just sort of do that, like tap it. And if I tap it, it does like the 3 blinker thing. It's off. And as soon as I get into the lane, it recognizes that it's in a lane and it takes over steering again.
If you try and exit the lane now without indicating, which is so annoying, what happens?
Let's see, can I be a jerk? A BMW driver, we'll say. And what if I try to change lanes now? So I'm going to try that. Oh, it just let me take control. And then now that I'm in this lane, it's centering in that. So as I went over, it flashed. The left line was orange, but it didn't like fight me really much. I could tell that it wanted to keep me in that lane, but it wasn't like a big fight to keep me in that lane. So that was a good test.
How much of a fight does Super Cruise and Blue Cruise give? So
they're interesting comparisons. So like autopilot feels like I'm in these grooves, and when I fight to get out of that, I have to make a pretty good tug on the steering wheel to get out of that. Super Cruise and Blue Cruise are very similar in that I feel like it's like not grooves, but like a little bit of I got to put a little effort into it to get out of that lane. This didn't feel like any effort at all, or hardly any effort at all. So I'm going to go ahead and do this again. I'm actually going to accelerate as I make the lane change. Now, one of the things that I think is neat on this is like there's a couple of little features that make it nicer to use so that you're not always fiddling with like what your set speed is or whatever. And that's like right now, I want to get around that truck a little bit faster because somebody's coming up behind me. And instead of like trying to set the speed limit up higher, I just use the accelerator to accelerate a little bit faster, but it's still steering for me. It's still keeping me centered in the lane. And then when I let go of the accelerator, it settles back down into the speed that I had it set at. So it does it in a smooth way and not that big of an issue there. And it can be very nice for, like that, want to get around a truck a little bit faster. The other thing that I think is really neat about the system, and not all systems are like this, and this goes back to fighting to get out of a lane. If there's I can see a pothole or like maybe some debris in this lane, I don't have to turn the system off, and I don't have to fight. I can just sort of move over here, go around it, and then when I let go, or not let go, or let it steer again, it moves me back to the center. So it's a cooperative system, meaning it's in control, and I'm in control. We're sharing control basically. So I can navigate around debris or whatever may be the case. We're gonna get away from this vehicle here because it's noisy and then somebody's trying to zip around me, so I'm gonna accelerate again. But this is where I think systems like this excel. It makes it just a fairly easy drive. We're headed down into San Diego, and for the most part, because it's handling the lane centering, I forget what the name is. Do you remember the name?
Lane Safety System.
Lane safety, but what's the...
I know it's LSS 3.0. I'm trying to remember what
the actual lane centering part is. The one I can't remember.
It's a weird name. Let's find it. You keep talking.
But I think this is where...
Lane trace assist.
Lane trace, yes. A lot of systems call it lane centering. This is lane trace assist. And what it's basically watching, using the cameras. You can see, potentially you can see, I'm not sure how well this camera's picking things up, but we got a little bit of a curve up here. It'll handle the curve because it's tracing the lane. I guess that makes sense.
It's certainly a unique term that I haven't heard before. And sorry, it's not Lane Safety Systems, it's Lexus Safety System. So Lexus. LSS 3.0 is what is in the RZ 450e and some other Lexus
multiple
models.
Other Lexi.
I had to say, Lexus models, because you can't say the plural of Lexus. What is that?
Lexi.
I
don't know. We are headed towards San Diego. We'll see if we get into some more stop and go traffic to test it out or something like that. But again, this is, I think, where this thing really excels, and a lot of other driver's assistants are pretty good at this type of thing. I did look at the Consumer Reports review of ADAS systems to sort of see what they thought about the Lexus system without having it influence me. I wanted to see what negatives they had, because so far, just driving it the past few days, I feel like it's been a pretty good system. And really the biggest negative that they gave the system is that it's not very clear where you can use this and where you can't use it. And thinking about Super Cruise and Blue Cruise, for example, they sort of have a little bit better symbols for letting you know, you can turn it on, on this road or whatever. So I can see that, but it's not that big of a deal to me. That they lost quite a few points for that in the Lexus system. And to be honest, it's sort of if you're going to use it, you try to turn it on. If it does turn on, good. If it doesn't, then it's no big deal. It's not like you necessarily need a symbol. So the negative, maybe a slight negative, I don't think it should have lost as many points as it did in the Consumer Reports review that, if I remember, I'll put a link to. I may not remember that. So if I don't, just Google Consumer Reports ADAS.
Or comment on the video and tell Patrick to go.
Or comment. Yeah.
I think it's a negative. I could see Mach-E it down, because I wouldn't want to have to keep being hopeful of is it on this road? Oh no. You just want to look down and see available. And for me, I think the reason I don't say it's a negative is when I do want to use it, it's on a freeway like this and it's going to be available. True. 9 times out of 10. So it's
I don't need to be like on like a 2-lane back road where the lanes are not necessarily clearly marked. By the way, it's slowing us down nice and smooth for this little bit of slow traffic. So definitely a negative, but not a huge negative.
Other things to note, by the way, the sound in this cabin, very nice. Like, this is quite a rough road, or uneven.
Yeah, and I'm getting some weird, from the tires, because of the grooves, you can hear the noise from the grooves, but very little wind noise. We have a longer review of the Lexus RZ 450e Luxury that we're in. So check that out if you haven't already. This is just strictly on, how do we like this? And the only reason we're talking during all of this is to give you sort of a chance to see that it's handling all of this. We didn't want to do time-lapse video, which a lot of times people will do, trying to show off their driver's assistance system. And that to me doesn't prove anything, because you could be, sort of modifying what you're doing and you can't really see it in a time-lapse video. Or they do a short 1-minute segment. So we're talking through this so you can see how it is. The other test that I don't really do much, but it's like the hands-off test. So the way I do it is I literally I'll hover my hands here. So, and I'm actually every once in a while touching the steering wheel by accident, but we're just sort of waiting to see what it says, if it'll tell me to put my hands back on. It's actually a really long time right now. There, it just did it. And it put a red icon telling me to do that. So now I'm going to do it again, and we'll start sort of counting, or you can count in your head. And I'm going to see, does it make an audible noise? Because it flashed a big red icon on the heads up and on the driver's screen. There, red icon. And is it going to make a noise? There we go.
I think it was 15 seconds and then 5 seconds to the noise, I think. But I wasn't counting carefully.
Not bad.
Oh. Did you do anything, or was it the Lexus?
I saw them coming. I just made sure I held the steering wheel firmly.
That one was tough because they were on either side.
Yeah,
so give the one person room. Then
they were literally riding side by side, and they split to go around me, which is weird for motorcyclists to do. But
this is definitely a good road to experience this ADAS system on. There's a huge groove. Not sure if you can see it in the back camera, but there's a huge groove in the middle of the road, and there are black lines with the white lines, the dash lines, and there are grooves on the left side. That lane would be interesting. The right lane has no white on the right side.
Actually, I'm going to go into that lane just to see, because sometimes these systems can get thrown off by a wall.
Yeah, and the wall is pretty close.
And it seems to be no problem. We're going to come up on an exit lane. We'll see if it starts to steer toward the exit. Yep, it did. And then it corrected. And it may not be obvious on the camera, but at least for us. And then, of course, here's some lane shifts, some weird lane markings.
Did it correct the exit lane back there?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Because that was a bad one.
And
here, too.
It handled that. That was excellent, because that was... I don't know how the cameras can figure out some of those weird old lane markings. Yeah,
basically the new lane came in, but without a dashed line for a while. And now it's getting into better-ish.
Yeah, this is very clear. He's going to cut us off. And
he kept going. They kept going.
Yeah, it sensed that it was not going to be... Whoops.
And we'll cut that out. It's a weird thing when you're shooting a video on an ADAS system and you intentionally hope for traffic so we can show you guys what it's like.
Yeah, and of course it's daylight now, but we're going to an event, and when we come back, it'll be dark. So we may get some night footage, and if we do, I think we'll insert it right here. And if not, we'll continue talking. If we did, you just saw some nighttime footage. So it depends on how we feel and what time we leave tonight. But we are getting closer to San Diego. We're going to Balboa Park, if you're familiar with that area. And we're going to start hitting traffic. And we'll just sort of see what the system does. This is a bit dicey. We're coming around a corner a little bit fast. I would be hitting the brakes.
Is that it braking?
Yeah, I had my foot hovered over the brake and was like, let's just see what it does.
Because there's a wall of traffic that you could see coming out.
Yeah, and I won't say it's a weakness in this system. It's a weakness in all systems. Like, there are times when you can see things far ahead, and I wouldn't necessarily brake because I could see the traffic, but I might tap my foot and get off of normal cruise control and let it coast and ready to brake. So I don't know, depends on how you drive. I'm not an aggressive braker. Like, when I see traffic's getting ready to stop, I want to gradually slow down. And it's not necessarily for me or for my comfort. It's also for the person behind me, that they start slowing down and they don't come around the corner and get surprised. But yeah, I'm letting it handle everything right now. This isn't stop and go, but it looks like we're getting ready to hit stop and go. It says 13 minutes delay due to traffic.
And so coming around the corner, we could see the wall of traffic, and it was like maybe 2 seconds before I'd start braking as a human, but then it braked quite comfortably. I felt good with that.
Yeah, it didn't feel like it slammed on the brakes, and they don't really slam on the brakes, but it can feel like a lot harsher than a human doing that. But it looks like we have some yellow, then a little blue, meaning it's okay, and then some red that we're getting ready to hit. Now we're slowing again. Checking my rear view mirror, there's a motorcycle behind me, so I always get a little bit extra cautious. I want to move over to the right so he can get around us, I hope. Nope, he's not going for it. Anyways, still feeling fairly natural in the way that it's handling this. Somebody's cutting in front of us, and it tapped the brakes there. A lot of times when there's a gap that opens up like this, some of these systems want to accelerate quickly. This is doing it very gradually, which is good and bad. You don't want it to be too quick to accelerate and then have to slow down again very quickly. But that type of thing can leave a gap that somebody else is going to cut you off. And then there, it recognized the truck and tapped the brakes, slowing back down. Ooh.
All right. That was interesting. So the Fiat cut in front of us and was going to go in the left lane straight across, but they had to wait. And the car didn't brake initially, but the moment the Fiat was like, yeah, I'm staying here, then it kind of held back a little. How did that feel? Yeah,
it was interesting. Exactly what you were saying. I was thinking it's just going to go across, and that basically the system was going to recognize it was going to do that. As soon as you could sort of tell the Fiat was in the lane for a bit too long, it decided to slow down and give itself a safe following distance.
Yeah, that was quite nice.
Yeah, so far, we haven't filmed the entire drive down here, but so far, I've been impressed that it hasn't canceled or freaked out or anything so far. Mostly it was a fairly easy drive anyways, because we're on I-15, but now traffic jam assist. Hold this button. Traffic jam assist is active.
I think I need to Google it.
Yes, please Google that, because I'm not actually sure what that is.
Yeah. By the way, I do think this is quite cool to do. You'll have to let us know what you think of this down below, because this, I guess, is the third vehicle that we've tested out the ADAS stuff. But I think that just cruising around in traffic is actually kind of interesting, because you have unexpected things happening because of all the other people. So that adds a whole thing. It allows you to drive in semi-autonomous mode in traffic jams. Well, what were you doing anyways?
Yeah, I don't see what the difference is. The icon on the screen changed, and maybe it's just going to do things a bit smoother.
It says it can steer, accelerate, and brake through stop and go traffic.
That's what it was doing.
I know. What does traffic jam assist give you? And there's probably a whole bunch of Lexus drivers who are like, it's blah. You can shout it in the comments. Feel free. Should there be like some kind of emoji they should put if they know it?
An exclamation point?
Exclamation point. Or like the loudspeaker thingy, whatever that is. Do that.
And I know it can be hard to tell like how slow we're actually going, but it's about 20, 21 miles an hour. And I don't know. I feel like now, I don't know how much this camera's catching, but it's like this video is now sponsored by Smart and Final.
Yeah, which I've only ever seen here in California.
I've only seen them in California. And I could like hop back and forth between lanes in traffic, but I don't really care to do that. And I have the worst habit of picking the worst lane. So
so it says it's supposed to resume automatically if the vehicle stops.
Oh, okay.
Because now if we stop, you have to resume it.
I can tap the button that says resume.
Is that the only difference?
So, but that's actually nice to know that that it'll do that. I wonder if if I stop for too long, will I then have to?
And then wait, this person says, I'm on forums now. I couldn't even find it on the main Lexus thing, but I'm sure I could if I dug. But it's hands and feet free if conditions are met. What happens if you take your hands off?
I'll do the hands off thing, and we'll see if it alerts me. We just tested it a few minutes ago, and it was 15 seconds. And actually, it doesn't show the steering wheel thing like it was doing earlier. So maybe I can just keep doing like this, and it's hands-free in this, which is not that big of a deal.
I think that totally changes the game. Because this is like half of the annoyance of traffic is stop and go on your pedal and I guess steering.
Yeah.
But then I feel like people would be really enticed to look at your phone.
Then
it would shout at you.
This is still there, and I don't want to block it because I don't want it to throw me out.
It popped up even from that coverage. Oh. Was that punishment?
Yes. Now I have to put my hands on.
Aww. Whoops. That's actually really cool. Okay.
Traffic jam assist.
What else does it say? Thank you, forum people. Thank you so much. I swear, I go to forums for everything. And YouTube. Not just saying that, honestly.
Oh, there it goes. Now it's on. So I was able to put it back on. I didn't want to, I think, because I was too close to the truck at the time. But now it's back to traffic jam assist. So it does have a hands-free option, and I'm assuming that it's only up to a certain speed. So if all of a sudden the traffic disappeared, but it's not, and we went back to 70 miles an hour, it wouldn't let me go all the way back up. And now we're stopped. The heads-up display says we're waiting. Vehicle is resuming. It popped up with that message and made a tone.
That wasn't a bad tone. It was weird.
Yeah, that's actually the tone I like best.
Tones. Yeah, the tones in this car are weird. If you're interested, go check out our other video. I'm tickled. I like this. I like it.
Yeah, and I believe Mercedes has the only level 3 approved system. It's approved in Nevada, as well as they're getting approval in California. I don't know if it's past that yet, but it's like this traffic jam assist that's hands-free, eyes on the road during traffic jams up to like 30 miles an hour, I believe it is. But level 3, it actually says you can take your eyes off the road as long as you're prepared to take back over under those conditions. So it's one step up, one level up. And they have that in Germany, and now they have it in Nevada, been approved in Nevada, seeking approval in California. So really, though, I don't know if I'm at that level where I wouldn't want to watch what's going on in front of me.
No.
Yeah.
But this is honestly the conditions in which I'd feel comfortable hands-freeing in a car. I know that you blue cruise all the time, hands-free. I don't, because I mostly do street driving, city driving, not highway. And Patrick does the road trips and all that stuff. But this, I'd feel much more comfortable with. You're going slowly. It's not like you can careen out of control. But when you're doing blue cruise or any hands-free, at 70 miles an hour. What does it go up to, 82? And then you can't use it.
And with Blue Cruise, it goes up to 81 or 82. I can't remember.
When you are using a hands-free system at that speed, I feel like even as a passenger, I'm very aware of what's going on the whole time. Like, you know, because anything can happen at high speed and it happens quickly. This is like, well, knock on wood.
This is a good introduction to hands-free.
That's a good point too,
and
yeah.
Even with Blue Cruise and Super Cruise, a lot of times when I was in hands-free mode, I just rested a hand on the steering wheel because I wanted to be prepared to take over. And those systems, if they detect something weird, they'll tell you to put your hands back on. So a lot of times I was just prepared to do that anyways. But being able to do this is pretty neat. And we're at 23 miles an hour and still in traffic jam assist.
Oh yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the
unfortunately we got like 6 more minutes of this. So let's just assume this is going to continue to work and we'll start recording again if it looks like we're getting ready to speed up, or I'll just note what speed it does.
Yeah. Well, that is it. That is our time checking out the ADAS in the Lexus 450e, the Lexus RZ 450e. What a mouthful. If you want to see an up-close, more detailed video about this, it's linked down below, up in the eye. What did you think? Summary.
Overall, I think it's an excellent system. It does what you want it to do, like on the freeway. We didn't do a lot of like city driving or any rural roads. To be honest, I don't think a lot of people will use it in those type of situations, but for freeway driving, as you could see, I think it was excellent. And I don't know, I like the fact that the traffic jam assist, that was a surprise that we weren't expecting. Very cool to have that. The way that it handled like freeway entrances and exits and a little bit confusing lanes was good. I like that you can change lanes simply tapping the turn signal and then it re-engages automatically. A lot of positives with this system. So if you know, we've looked at Super Cruise and Autopilot and Blue Cruise. There's pros and cons to each, but they're all, to be honest, they're all pretty dang good for doing like what we were just doing on like I-15.
And obviously this having a heads-up display, that does change it. You could see that Patrick interacted with the system on the heads-up display, which is pretty cool. I thought the traffic jam assist, pretty cool. So you have to let us know what you think down below. Thank you so much for watching this video. Huge thank you to our patrons whose names are scrolling across the screen right now. We appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for Talik, Charge Positive, for filming this outro.
We'll put a link to his YouTube and Twitter down below. He's been great. He's down here in the San Diego area. He checks out a lot of EV stuff and charging stuff. So
and chargers.
Thanks, Talik.
Yeah, and just remember that whatever you drive, whether it's a Lexus, whether it's whatever Talik is driving,
a Tesla Model Y, blue,
right there, or a Mach-E, enjoy the ride.
Bye.
Bye.